Hello girls, I hope you're having a great day. I hope you're staying safe at home. So to continue with biology, today I'm going to start with chapter 9, that is the economic importance of bacteria and fungi. Children, please follow your text and listen to the explanation. Okay, so the first part is the economic importance of bacteria. You know bacteria are unicellular organisms. Okay, unicellular means they are made up of a single cell, one cell, and they do not have a nuclear membrane. That is, they are known as prokaryotes or prokaryotic cells. Why prokaryote? Because their nucleus does not have a nuclear membrane. Okay, so bacteria are the most primitive unicellular organisms. So each bacterial cell contains a single chromosome. This is the single chromosome or the nuclear material, okay, which is not enclosed inside a nuclear membrane. Now, if you talk about bacteria, there are several thousand known species which are found practically everywhere in the air, water, food, soil, inside the body of animals, human beings. There are so many bacteria, thousands and thousands of bacteria inside our mouths, in our genital tracts, even inside the intestines, sticking on the skin, okay? And the bacteria which we find in our intestines are beneficial because they synthesize certain vitamins such as vitamin B, and also they help in digestion. And of course, many bacteria are harmful and they cause many different diseases. Okay, now when we come to the size of a bacteria, we know that bacteria are the smallest living organisms. Okay, so they are very, very small. They are either 2 micrometers long. Micrometer means when you divide 1 millimeter into 1000 parts, and from there you take 2 parts. Okay, it may even measure 0.5 micrometer. So they are that tiny. That is why we do not see it with our naked eyes. Now moving on to the shape, the bacteria are of 4 types. First is spherical bacteria. Spherical means they are also known as cocci or coccus. Okay, round, spherical. They may occur singly, or they may occur 2 together sticking to each other, or they may even form very long chains. Okay, so one is coccus, spherical. This is diplococcus. Diplo means 2, diplococcus. Okay, and this is in long chains means streptococcus, and sometimes they may come together and form groups. Okay, when they form a group, then they are known as staphylococcus. So spherical or cocci bacteria occur in pairs, diplococcus. If they are single, they are just coccus. In pairs, diplococcus. Okay, long chain, streptococcus. Okay, or in clusters, in groups, staphylococcus. Okay, now next is rod-shaped bacteria. They are known as bacilli. Okay, rod-shaped, wrong, rod-shaped, in the shape of rods. Next is spirilla. Spirilla or twisted. They are known as spirilla. They are twisted or spiral in shape. Okay, so they are twisted this way. Okay, spirilla, in form of spirals. You know what a spiral is, isn't it? And then we have comma shaped, which is known as vibrio. Comma shaped or vibrio, like a comma. Okay, comma shaped. This type of bacteria, they are known as vibrio. Okay, now moving on to the structure of a bacterial cell. Now, it is a very, very simple cell. It contains the living substance protoplasm. Okay, protoplast, which is inside the cell membrane, surrounded by a cell wall. This middle one is the cell wall. This is the capsule. Okay, then it has a thin cell membrane which lies immediately below the cell wall. This is the cell membrane. Okay, there is no well-defined nucleus, because it does not have a nuclear membrane, but the chromatin fiber lies at the center. This is the nuclear material, that is bacterial chromosome. Okay, so this chromatin material is in the form of a single circle and it does not have any nuclear membrane around it, but it is attached to the cell membrane at some point. So you can see the attachment here. It is attached to the cell membrane so that it does not move away. Now the cytoplasm contains vacuoles. Okay, this is a vacuole. Granules, glycogen granules. Okay, food material, glycogen granules. And sometimes if it is green in color, there will be chlorophyll as well. Sometimes a slimy protective layer called capsule. See, this is the capsule. It is a slimy, slippery protective layer right outside the cell wall. Okay, so this is the basic structure, and of course they also have long thread-like structure called flagella or flagellum. Okay, so this is the basic structure of the bacteria. Now moving on to the movement, bacteria, they cannot move about on their own, but they are only carried from one place to another place either by wind, water, or by contact. Contact means sometimes you may pick up the bacteria and then take it with you. Okay, and some bacteria, they whip like flagella here, flagellum. So what do they do with this flagella? The move from side to side. Flagella move from side to side. Okay, it lashes from one side to another side, from side to side, and as a result there is locomotion, especially in liquid environment, in the water. You can say it swims with the help of flagella. Now moving on to nutrition. Okay, now bacteria, maximum bacteria have no chlorophyll, so they cannot make their own food. So they depend on food from different sources. So when they depend on food from different sources, it is known as heterotrophic nutrition. Okay, so there are two types of bacteria. Saprophytic bacteria drawing nourishment from dead and decaying organisms. Okay, so they take their nutrition from organisms which are dead and decaying. The bad smell that you get, especially from food that is spoiled, is actually being eaten up by the bacteria. Okay, and next is parasitic, that is they draw nourishment from the body of other living organisms. Okay, bacteria, like they will come, specially disease causing bacteria, they will enter the cells and they will start feeding from the cell. So they are parasites. The bacteria, what they do is they secrete powerful enzymes into the surrounding food. Okay, especially in saprophytic. Supposing this is the food, the bacteria will settle here, and then what will they produce? They will produce enzymes, and these enzymes will dissolve the food, which is here. It will digest the food, and this food is then absorbed by the bacterial cell. Now moving on to the respiration. So there are two types of respiration in bacteria. Aerobic means oxygen is required, and anaerobic means they breathe in the absence of oxygen. Especially bacteria which live in our intestines, they do not get any oxygen. If this bacteria comes out into the open, this bacteria will die. Okay, now moving on to reproduction. Now there is no sexes in bacteria, that is there is no male or female. So the only way they can reproduce is asexual. Asexual means where sexes are not required. So how do they reproduce? By a process which is known as fission or cell division. Okay, so what happens is the bacteria the nuclear material right at the center, it duplicates, becomes 2, okay, and the cell expands and the 2 DNA are pulled apart, okay. The cell constricts at the middle, constriction at the middle here, okay, and it separates the 2 cells, and then finally it will break open here, resulting in the formation of 2 bacteria. So depending on the type of bacteria, the 2 daughter cells may either remain attached or may separate from each other as independent cells. That is, in the case of Diplococcus, they need to stay together. Okay, now moving on to highly primitive type of sexual reproduction. That is found in very few bacteria, and it is very simple. What happens is 2 bacteria of different strains come together. There is a plus strain and a minus strain, but they must be of the same species. So they come together when they come together, it is known as conjugation. Okay, so the plasmid, remember the plasmid, a small circular DNA molecule which is different from chromosomal DNA, so of the donor, it will go into the recipient through a hollow tube like extension of the donor cell. That means what happens? It will come together and then there is a connection between them. Plasmid from here will enter here, and here they will mix together, and again this will divide into 2. Okay, so this is a highly primitive type of sexual reproduction. So finally, in today's topic, we will talk about the formation of spores. Okay, so spores are formed to overcome unfavorable conditions. So when unfavorable conditions set in, such as there is drying of vegetation, it is very dry, the bacterial cell, what it does is it shrinks. It draws its contents into a spherical mass which is surrounded by a thick and hard protective wall. Okay, so that wall is known as the spore wall. So this little rounded body is now, this body right in the middle is known as the spore. Okay, so you can see that it is contained inside the original cell wall. This cell wall is of the bacterial cell. So it remains like this to overcome unfavorable conditions, and later when it comes in contact with favorable conditions, it becomes free and the cell wall ruptures. So this will break open the cell wall and the spore will escape out, and then again it will form another new bacteria. Remember, spores can withstand unfavorable conditions like extreme dryness, and they cannot be killed even at the temperature of boiling water, 100 degrees Celsius, or even 0 degrees Celsius, that is when they are frozen to ice, and some can even tolerate poisonous chemicals. That is, they will not be killed. The spores are, you can see, a sort of a security for the bacteria. So the spores can be carried far and wide by various means, such as the wind, water, contact. So whenever it comes in contact with favorable conditions, the spores germinate and their dormant protoplasm becomes active, and it comes out from the ruptured wall in the form of a new bacterium. Remember, spore formation is not reproduction, because one bacteria forms a spore and one bacteria only comes out. But when we talk about reproduction, one bacteria divides into 2. Okay, so we will stop here, children. Please go over chapter 9, okay, till the spores, and tell me if you have any difficulty. Have a nice day. God bless you.